All right, so Myers, tell me, what does this mean to you? Coming back to the Robinson High School where you grew up, you're being inducted to the Hall of Fame tonight. What's this moment mean to you in the program for 2010?
I'll be honest, this is a really special night for all of us. I was texting the guys yesterday because I knew I was going to be able to come up and spend some time and, be here for the ceremony and the game and everything. And I said, guys, we just need to take a second to realize, this was a really special team, a really special group of guys, and we did something that nobody can ever take away from us. And that's, it means a lot to us. We truly, this is a true story. I put this, I think, on my Facebook post, but I said, we made a commitment to ourselves. We started playing basketball together in 5th grade. And, man, we just had such a good group of guys, and we said, man, one day it'd be really cool to win a state championship. That is a true story, and here we are. So, let's see, we won it in 2010, so we're getting a little old now. I'm 31, most of those guys are. And, man, it's just, it's really cool to think back and, I guess, realize how many amazing memories we made. I'm married. I was fortunate enough to go on and play at the U of I and the NBA and everything. I got a baby boy, amazing things in my life, but some of the most fond memories still to this day are playing with those guys and still being so close with these guys. It just, man, I guess it's just a testament to a few things. Hard work in terms of winning it, but being so fortunate to have a good group of friends that we can rely on as grown men now is pretty special because we lean on each other. We text and call each other all the time. And man, there's just something really special about, I guess I'll say for me personally, the game of basketball has been really good to me. And I've traveled the world. Like I said earlier, I was fortunate enough to go to the U of I. Man, that place was like the Mecca to me, man. It's like sometimes I put my head on the pillow at night. I can't even believe all this is real. And then 10 years in the NBA, I'm so blessed and grateful. And yet, like I said, some of the most fond memories, man, are with these guys, 2010 state champions. So really special night.
Final induction into the 2023 Hall of Fame will be the 2010 Boys Basketball State Championship team. Head coach, Bob Kaufman. Number 23, Ben Jones. Number 32, Myers Leonard. Number 5, Derek Hernandez. Number 12, Austin Tyler. Championship team on your induction into the 2023 Hall of Fame.
So, the sectional title game against T-Town.
Yeah.
Literally standing room only at St. Anthony. You had 9 dunks that game, 6 in the first and 3 in the second. What was that moment like for you, not only as a player, but just being a part of such an incredible environment?
Oh, yeah. So I'll say this about T-Town. They have got it figured out over there. They always have. They just have good basketball. I don't know. I'm drawing. This is not like me. T-Town, man, they just got it together when it comes to basketball. They just flat out do. Their system, it's like they're just cranking out good teams and good players. And, man, I wouldn't say we had a rivalry all throughout our youth, but there was times we'd lose to them plenty. And I just remember thinking to myself, because we actually almost lost the first game to Tolono. Anyways, back to T-Town. In my head, I was because Bruce was there, and I'm pretty sure Jay Price was there. And I was like, no way, excuse my language, in hell I'm losing this game. I'm going to the super section, and we're going to win that, and we're going to win the state title. There was just something in our mindset after we got that win against Tolono, which we probably should have lost. I was like, we are going to, just plow through and figure it out. And so, man, I remember we had an inbounds play. I, set a pick and slipped to the rim, and I just punched one, boom! And I flexed, and I just felt I felt it. I don't know, our team, me, the energy, I was like, this game's over. I already know we're winning. There's no doubt in my mind. It just, we had the crowd, the energy, the emotion, everything.
That dunk, the most memorable dunk probably in IHSA history that you had against St. Teresa at UIS.
Yeah.
The moment that it happened, but also leading up to it, how do you feel like, what was going through your mind at the moment?
Oh, gosh. Well, first of all, obviously that's a huge game, super sectionals. We felt comfortable and confident coming into the game, but it was, it was going to be a dogfight. And I'm going to be honest, I actually do know the guy's name, but I'm not going to mention it. He was kind of put into the game to rile me up, and I'll be honest, he was doing a pretty good job of it. Like, he was getting under my skin, and I think I was having a decent game. And I just remember thinking to myself, I got to get this guy somehow. And man, they were pressing, and our guards were not going to get the ball. So lo and behold, we throw it to Myers, which maybe not the best idea, but hey, I work on my skills here and there. And sure enough, I remember getting to like half court, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have to try it. I mean, I got to do something crazy here. And so, yeah, man, I think I took maybe one more dribble from half and just took off. I mean, I was a lot lighter back then too. So, and I lifted hard. I was at least fairly athletic. Man, I just remember in my head, I was like, oh my God, I'm clearing this guy. But I thought when I dunked it, I thought they were going to call a charge. And then I just remember like turning and looking at our crowd and flexing as hard as I could. I probably just about passed out. I flexed so dang hard. But no, man, that dunk was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
So that three-quarter court shot you made at State, what a shot, number one, but what's going through your mind when you actually made it?
Oh, yeah, so I remember it very clearly. End of the first quarter, we had played okay, but I think we were maybe down like 6 or 7, which is a big margin for the first quarter. I remember I grabbed a rebound. You can watch the video. Derek is a very good shooter, and he was like asking me for the ball, and I was like, not today, brother. And I just remember, I think, taking one dribble, and I just heaved that thing, and boom, it went through real hard, and I was like, oh, wow. So, I mean, it was like a momentum shift, as I guess I would think as an opposing player, I'd be like, you gotta be kidding me. But no, I talk about this all the time, like just in life or a game of basketball. If you treat life the right way, good things are gonna happen. If you treat, like Bruce Weber and his staff would always say, like the basketball gods are watching, meaning if you play the right way, you're doing the right things, good things are probably gonna happen. And man, it was just so destined to be, man. It's just crazy. Like, Leonard-Robinson, Illinois winning the state championship? I don't know, but we made it happen.
Drops it off, and right there, but in and out is Jacoby Roddy. And in a hurry, let's see, can Leonard... Can you believe it? The buzz is on. Don't go away. Back after these local messages. Oh, my goodness.
Bruce Weber, what a man. Gosh, just an incredible human being. Obviously, I learned basketball from him, but I feel like I learned almost more about life from Bruce Weber. His passion, how much he cares for you, not just as a player, but as a young man. He wants you to be a quality human being. Probably even more so if you were to ask him, if he were standing right here, he'd probably say that he'd rather his players be good young men, just slightly above basketball. Of course, he wants to win games, but man, there was times I'd walk in his office and cry my eyes out. I'll give you a good story. I don't know if I've ever told the media this, so congratulations. And I mean that in the most respectful way. I'll just, so you can clip this. I don't think I've ever told anybody this from the media as it pertains to Bruce Weber. My freshman year, I wasn't very good. I came in pretty highly recruited, but we had Mike Tisdale and Mike Davis, who were both very good players at the University of Illinois. And Mr. Myers-Leonard was not very good at basketball. I was thin. I wasn't ready for the Big Ten toughness and so on and so forth. It was something like 9.1 minutes, 2.1 points, and maybe like 1.9 rebounds. Not very good. And I remember going into his office for my postseason basketball review, if you will. It happens after every season for really any team. And we went through everything, and he was talking about how I was going to have more of an opportunity and this and that, but I cried the whole time. I was so upset with the fact that I hadn't played well. I felt like, fans maybe were upset with me. I wasn't playing the way I wanted to, and I didn't quite understand it. I just remember he just kind of let me cry it out, and he just looked at me and he said, "Meyers, you're going to be a great basketball player, young man, and I mean that. You're going to have such an opportunity next season." And he follows this up by saying, "I'd like for you to try for the USA basketball team, the under-19 team." And I said, "No, I'm not going to do that." And I think I caught him off guard. He said, "What do you mean?" "Of course you are." And I said, No, I don't have any confidence in myself. I had a terrible freshman year. I don't want to do it. I'd rather just stay here in Champaign." He's like, "Meyers." And this is what I've needed my whole life, and I'm going to dig into my life a little bit here. My father passed when I was 6. It was not easy, but I've needed mentors in my life really badly, and Bruce Weber is one of the biggest mentors I've had in teaching me, like I said earlier, about life and basketball. And I just remember feeling that confidence coming out of him and his belief in me, and the feeling that I felt almost like in my soul in that moment. And he said, "You're going to train your tail off. You're going to go to Colorado. You're going to make this team, and you're going to do a darn good job for yourself, and you're going to come back a better version of yourself, and you're going to help us win games next year," which would have been my sophomore year. Lo and behold, I came back, played really well. Unfortunately, the season was up and down. The very next year I was in the NBA. So without somebody believing in me, Bruce, I don't know where I would have been. Who knows? Maybe I would have played 4 years, which would have been fine. I love the University of Illinois. But the point is like I was just torn up and crying and had no confidence and just felt awful about the way I played. And he just instilled something in me. And then I was doing 2 and 3 days. I know that sounds crazy, but I had a lot more energy back then. Waking up early, 6 a.m., 5 a.m., weights, basketball, go to class, shooting in the gym at night, do it all over again the next day. So something just clicked inside of me, and it's a large part of that was from Bruce Weber. And I met my lovely wife at that time as well. So it was like a two-pronged attack to help me kind of go on my way to becoming a better basketball player.
So when your brother surprised you at the U of I, and you pretty well melt down,
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
The emotion you see coming through that screen was like 100x in person. And I've had so many people, still to this day, the Big Ten will repost it or something will happen and it'll be recycled on social media. And so many people have said so many nice things, which I'm grateful for. And, I had actually spoke to my brother about 2 weeks earlier. And I would get these weird calls if I were in class or doing different things, and I knew I'd always have to answer it because it would be my brother over in Afghanistan. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be out for about 3 weeks to a month, and we'll be back." Lo and behold, that was just a little bit of a fib because he had been talking to my wife now, Ellie, and a very close friend of mine, and they'd been setting this whole deal up. And I just remember we were having a shoot around. It was actually the last game I ever played at U of I, and we had just gotten out of the huddle, and of course, the coaches and everybody were in on it. And I just remember, "Hey, Meyers!" And I turned around, and I was just—it's like going in shock almost, but from a happiness and like emotional, joyful perspective. Like I said, what you saw on the screen was very real. People can have their opinions, and they're entitled to them. But I've always just loved and respected my brother and everyone who's ever served this country. I got to play the game of basketball because people like him and others allow me that right. And I'm just so grateful, and I don't want to dig into that, but just really grateful for that moment. It was very real. I was shocked. I was always terrified when he was over there that something bad would happen. Things go through your head, and there he was. And I knew that was probably his last tour. So that's why it all hit me at once. It was just like, oh my God, thank you. My brother's safe. He's somehow here at my last game. Like, it was a whole thing.
I'm guessing he has absolutely no idea I'm even outside this stadium right now. I drove drove into Champaign on March 1st to come see Meyers play against Michigan. The reason I wanted to come see him play so bad is the fact that he didn't know I was going to be here. Hey, Meyers. What the? Come here.
Your success in the NBA, Trailblazers, Heat, Bucks.
Yeah.
What was your favorite moment? What were some of the biggest takeaways from your NBA career? What do you feel like maybe you learned from that as well?
Sure. Wow, what a question. Okay, so University of Illinois for 2 years, drafted to Portland, 2012. Man, I was really, I guess raw is normally the way people would describe it. And that was the truth. Both from a basketball perspective and in a non-negative way, a maturity perspective. I was about to move from quite literally the furthest NBA city from my hometown. It was pretty intimidating. Well, from my hometown and U of I, it was pretty intimidating. I knew I'd have the team and their support, and people maybe around the community, but I was a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. You think you're all big and bad and this and that, but man, there's a lot of times I look back and I was in some pretty dark places, even though I was playing in the NBA and had the most amazing job. It doesn't always feel that way sometimes on the inside, but man, I'm super grateful. I had a lot of ups and downs in Portland, super passionate fans. Here's what I'll say. There was a time when I was playing really poorly. I know that. And I checked in the game maybe like 3 minutes ago in the fourth. It didn't mean anything. And I missed a three, and the very next position I airballed a three. And I kind of got singled out, which was a little tough for me. I'm not a very, by nature, confident guy. Definitely a positive affirmation guy and want to play well. I want the fans to like me, which can be a good and a bad thing. And I just remember feeling like I was letting everybody down. It's not like they're not trying to be mean. They're just fans, and they want me to perform well and, everything like that. So there was that side of it. And I'll carry you through a couple more years into my last year there in Portland. And I feel like finally after I started, working with Drew Hanlon, going to LA for the summer, working my tail off, getting a lot better and learning so much and playing even in pickup runs, that really helped me. I knew I just needed more experience. And because we were such a good team, I started to fall behind the rotation. And I just remember the Golden State series. I played a little bit against OKC in our first round series. I played a little because of Steven Adams, spread the floor, that kind of thing. Then against the Nuggets, which was a huge series, I did a decent job against Jokic, spread the floor, be physical, whatever. And then we got to the Golden State series, Western Conference Finals. And game one, we weren't playing very well. I got a little bit of time in the second half. Same thing in the second game. We're down 0-2 going back to Portland. And I remember thinking, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but it matters to me. At the trade deadline, we actually picked up Enes Kanter at the time. That was his name. And I thought to myself, because I had played pretty well that season, and I thought, man, in my head, and they probably didn't feel this way, but this is how I felt. I was like, man, they don't believe in me. Dang it. I feel like I'm finally proving to them every night I can really provide a good spark and spacing and be a good player. And I just remember thinking, don't you dare give up for any reason. More weights, more conditioning, more shots before and after practice, more film, always trying to be the best teammate I can be on the bench. That's just how I am. And I remember game 3 morning, I'm jumping back to the Western Conference Finals. I could have given up. I really feel like I could have and just said I'm just kind of going to leave practice early and do whatever. I didn't want to do that. And game 3 morning, I showed up for an optional shooting. I'm not sure if anybody else actually did at our practice facility. I was sitting down to have breakfast, and I got a text from Coach Stotts, and I was like, that's interesting. So I opened it, and he was like, come to my office before you go to the court. I said, okay, I'll be there. I finished breakfast. I walked in the locker room. walked to his office before I went to the court. I walked in the door. I said, do I need to close it? He said, no. He said, you're starting. And I said, I'll be ready. And I walked out because I knew in my heart that I had stayed in shape and I'd be ready to go. Had a pretty good game. I think it was like 17-11. Unfortunately, we lost. So game 4 morning, then I knew I was going to start. We talked about it in film, at shoot around, and that was when I had 30 and 12 and, you know, had the biggest game of my career. And I just remember a couple things. Number one, there was a foul. And as I was walking to the free throw lane, I looked up and Steph and Meyers both had 25. And I was like, this can't be real. And all of a sudden, the fans just started chanting my name. And in that moment, I felt like I should have a huge smile on my face. I like almost buckled. I like almost started to cry, really. I mean, I'm an emotional guy, but it was like two sides of the token. I was so emotional and beat up for so long, which was a lot of my doing. And then at the end, it was like going out on a high. So Portland was amazing. I learned so much. You know, my wife and I got married there. We had some amazing friends there. Like I said, the fans are great. You know, I wish I had played better early on. And my Portland years were awesome. I learned so much about myself. And then obviously I got traded to Miami, which was unbelievable. I mean, I was in shock at first. Like, you almost feel like it's never going to happen. I spent 7 years in Portland. And I just remember getting there, and I was going through my first shooting workout. I got about 5 minutes in. I think I was taking some free throws for a quick break. And I hear a door close over by, like, half court, and I was like, that's weird. So I kind of peek out of the corner of my eye. It was Pat Riley, and I was like, oh boy. Like, you know, we're talking about going into my 8th season. When you see that man, you're like, okay, this is the real deal. And man, what an experience. What an awesome organization. The heat culture thing, very real. Heat conditioning test, no joke. But I'll tell you this, being able to go back on the plane and talk to Pat Riley about life and about basketball, amazing. Being able to go to Spo's office and do the same thing, incredible. Like, the amount of confidence I had felt because they believed in me from day one, and I was at a different point in my career, was just awesome. And then last year, man, I was kicking and clawing to get back in. I was going to do anything. I don't care how much pain I was in. It didn't matter to me. I had to get back in, and luckily I did. I was with the Bucks. You know, I didn't play a whole lot, but it felt really good to get back in the league, and so we'll see what happens. I'm a little beat up for 31, a couple shoulder surgeries, a little ankle surgery that didn't end up going so well, but I'm a happy man. I got an 18-month-old boy at the house, a beautiful wife. I'm blessed and grateful, and yeah, man, it's about as long and short of a quick synopsis of my career as I could give.
Leonard wide open. Stop constant movement. He's in fabulous condition. Leonard answers back. Fires Leonard. 14 points here in the first quarter. Leonard left open. No hesitation. Drills another. It's the most points Meyers Leonard has scored in a half in his career. And again, Meyers Leonard lighting it up. He's got 20. Where Portland scored easily. Leonard feeling it, tries another three. Hey, it's again.
Unselfish play. The confidence of Leonard, puts it on the deck, moves sideways, continues to stay hot. What a half of Meyers Leonard.
Turner picks it up. Lillard's all alone. Now Green hustles back. Leonard.